It's short. And this is what it was like. This was the first time I came out of a night terror at home. My brother Billy was home at this time from the hospital. One autumn into winter, Billy suffered a long spell of depression while locked away. It seemed to me that the grown-ups disdained his despondency with a vehemence that repulsed them. They made effort to bolt it from his system. He received a series of shock treatments and was sent home in time for Christmas. I babysat him, unofficially that is. I was a teenager at this point. Memory loss and confusion were side effects, and I couldn't bear to leave him alone in our living room, which I'd started calling our dead room. By this time, we had 2 lazy boy recliners. All of us alternately shared the new one by the picture window except for Billy. He preferred the worn one, tucked in a corner, a shadow of the first. He shook and dozed for hours in that chair. He shook so badly, I thought he might shake apart. Slowly, his concentration returned. Then he smoked and read. Piles of books towered around him on the floor, sentinels against his deadly thoughts. He made a mighty effort to tame his voices, to wrangle them and replace them with the words of Faulkner, Austen, Dostoevsky. But could they save him? He gave me my love of literature, and I alternately read by him and sprayed Lysol. That's how much I hated the sickening cloud of cigarette smoke. Or maybe my efforts to disinfect only gave me some illusion of control. Grandma Talmadge got them, my brother told me as he awoke from nodding off. It was late at night, and we'd been reading by the Christmas tree. Danny and Mom and Dad had gone to bed. I put down Little Women, sad to leave the safety of the Marches home. I'd no idea what he meant about Mom's mom. Grandma Talmadge got what? Shock treatments, he slurred as he lit up another Lucky. Only no anesthesia back then. Surly attendant sat on her chest, restraining our grandma. I bit my lip to keep from crying. Unlucky, I guess. Then he nodded off again. I removed the cigarette from between his fingers quietly so as not to wake him and so he wouldn't set himself and in turn all of us on fire. Dan and Billy had continued to share a room upstairs, and I'd taken my sister's old room across the hall. The spare bedroom on the first floor became where Dad pieced puzzles in the middle of the night. He loved making sense from the 1,000 disparate fragments. I didn't have the strength to usher my brother up to bed and was afraid to go to my own. I put a blanket around him and settled onto the couch with another. I stared at our lights. They were supposed to give you hope during the darkest time of the year, but their twinkling seemed pointless that night. I thought about my grandma, who had died when I was a baby. I thought about my brother snoring nearby. I wondered if I would be one of the unlucky ones, if I would turn out to be schizophrenic. Maybe I already was. My sleep disturbances frightened me more and more. I was especially upset from an episode I'd had on the eve of Billy's most recent return. It was the first time I woke up in the middle of sleepwalking, and I hadn't dared told a soul. In my dream, a Mack truck was speeding directly at me. My legs were braced, bent at the knees, bare feet arching against the black burning tar of the road. Exhaust filled the air and the headlights blinded me. I felt the searing metal of the engine burn my hands, stretched out flat in one tremendous effort to stop the truck from hitting me. In the moment of collision, I came to, and the 18-wheeler had vanished. Hit and run. It was pitch black. I was standing. I was not in bed or even in my bedroom. I couldn't catch my breath. Sweat streamed down the side of my face and neck, and my nightshirt was soaked through. My hands pressed hard against the knotty pine wall, and my legs and body were slightly bent in a pushing stance. I stood there, frozen to the spot, except for my runaway heart. All I could hear was the radiator clanking as the heat came up frantically. Some poor soul was caught in there and couldn't get out, Marley from A Christmas Carol, dragging his chains behind him. My eyes adjusted as the full moon broke from behind clouds and glared through the closed window. The lunacy was lost on me. Slowly, very, very slowly, I began to recognize objects. The Union flag hanging from the wall, a worn baseball mitt slung over the bedpost, castaway scapulars, and rosary beads. My heart was a punching fist, and I realized then that I had been pressing with all my might against the wall of my brother's empty room. My mind raced to locate them. Danny was away skiing with friends, but where was Billy? I felt a terribly familiar feeling in the pit of my stomach. Where was my brother? Was he dead or alive?